Hello, I'm back. We're going to have to probably do this as the last one, but if you'll move to this diagram right here, where's it? Right there. This one on your slides, you can see that it's a synaptic connection in the brain. And that is where dopamine is released, for example. It could be serotonin, or it could be other things in the brain that are released through synaptic connections. What happens for instance, I'm using meth as my example drug right now. What happens is that as the receptor molecules are occupied for longer periods of time, a second messenger forms on the receptor side and goes down into the brain cell, the neuron, nucleus of that neuron, and awakens a genetic transcript that comes out. And it causes two things to happen. The first one being that new receptor molecules are overpopulated, so it specifies the function of the cell just to be receiving dopamine, for example. The other thing that happens is that it says, we're busy here, we don't want to talk to other parts of the brain. So it sends out chemicals that kill off dendrites that go to other parts of the brain. And this is where brain damage comes from with drug use. This is where you end up getting an isolation of a particular part of the brain. Let's say for methamphetamine, the amygdala quits talking to the parts of the brain that other areas that kind of help regulate it and balance it. And so you get paranoid when the amygdala is not actually getting good information from the thalamus, when amygdala is not actually communicating with the sensory cortex part of the brain to get regulated, then people get paranoid. And that's the biological origins of paranoid behavior. And the same thing happens with paranoid schizophrenia. The next picture you'll actually see, this is from NIDA. You'll see a couple of images of a brain, and it's at a 45-degree angle. I've got a model brain right here. So you'll see that this brain is a little bit kind of at an angle here, like that. And you'll see the front part of it is really not working very well. And you'll see that, that there are a lot of what look like holes. What the brain scan is really showing us is that I dropped my brain, sorry. The diagram is showing us that certain parts of the brain that are important for life, like the prefrontal area, aren't working anymore. Now, if you dissected the brain out of that skull, it would look normal. This is a functional scan. The next picture is the same thing. Comes from Daniel Amen, and you may want to go to his website and look at some more of these pictures. AmenClinics.com. He's probably the premier brain imagery specialist in the world. And you can see that lots of areas, particularly the frontal part of the brain right here, and this is what controls us. It's the part that has judgment, that has goal attainment, inhibition control, emotional balance, and the ability to control ourselves emotionally. And so you notice when that's not working, people can't control themselves emotionally, they don't have mental balance, they can't set goals, their judgment's terrible, they're not able to figure out problems as well. All of the higher brain functions that the frontal part of the brain, and you read about in Daniel Amen's book, those areas are diminished, and that's why people are very, very difficult to deal with, and they're very emotional and more limbic. That limbic area is the basic area of the brain that has desires and needs and wants and cravings and so forth. So the very part of the brain that could actually help you get off drugs is the one that's first damaged by drugs. It's very ironic. That's why when you're talking to someone that's injured by drugs or addicted to drugs, that you'll end up having to deal with someone that's not very rational, and it's hard to rationalize with them. The next slides you'll see are basically pictures of what some of the effects of methamphetamine are. Includes the skin rashes that you get from the opioids being depleted, some things about shooting up and the problems coming from that. Osteoporosis comes from the increase in cortisol production in the body. You're not taking as much nourishment, that's one thing, but the other is that the stress that your body's under causes you to release adrenaline and cortisol. Cortisol is a stress-related hormone. It's like methylprednisone and things like that when you take them when you're sick. what your body lets you do is use whatever resources it needs in order to survive, and cortisol helps you break down your own body and eat your body, essentially, for emergency situations. It's only for that. It's a stress-related hormone. That's why stress kills, by the way. But in let's say methamphetamine use, you have a tremendous amount of this stress, and it causes your body to consume itself. That's why you get really anorexic. That's why you have early onset osteoporosis and many of the other symptoms. The teeth, are falling out in some of these pictures and so forth. Also, we have some of the other things that are problems here, like HIV and AIDS. And then you'll see some pictures at the end here of people that have had all this happen to them, and most of these people are dead. Their lives have been ruined by, in this case, methamphetamine. So I hope you've enjoyed the lecture on addiction. Remember that addiction happens at a very basic level of the brain. It's what I call the lizard brain or reptilian structures of the brain. It's a recalibration of that that orients us toward another behavior that we've been rewarded for, that we think, or at least that part of the brain assesses is important for survival. And when you put a chemical in that causes the assessment to show it rated very high, that part of the brain creates behaviors and pattern recognition and all of the things we see in addiction as a response to what it perceives as a survival need and a survival imperative. So that's a little bit about addiction. I hope you've enjoyed this. Kind of an experiment from me to talk to you from my office, and I apologize, it's a fairly casual video, but hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you have any questions, call me, email me, hit the chat button, and we'll chat on the D2L site. Just want to talk to you and communicate with you about this stuff. It's been fun. Thank you. Bye-bye.